Yeah. Yeah, I'm wearing this. What is up? Welcome back to Recaps from Chirpin DMV. This is week 18. I am Ben, your host, and your source. I keep mixing those up. Your source for all things Washington Capitals hockey. Now, we have 3 games to talk about today. We have the Rangers game, we have the Philly game, and the Leafs game. They were all losses, just so you know. So before we get into that, let's talk some more positive stuff. Look at this sweater. Are you kidding me? Let me stand up. Let me stand up for this. Look at that. Mr. Clean. Fits like a dream, like you wouldn't believe. Get yours at the store, the Chirpin DMV store. I'll link it below in the video. On Instagram, it's in the link in our bio. Twitter, it's in the link in our bio, so get yours. Support Tommy Wilson, even though him and Revo didn't end up fighting like I prophesized. Wow, is that the word? I have no idea. You know what I mean. But anyways, yeah, like what is the point about talking about all these games? They lost. They lost and didn't look good in just about any of them. The Rangers game, forget about it. They looked brutal. You got ESPN saying it's the Revo effect, the Ryan Reeves effect. That's how bad Washington was playing. That they're saying that Reeves was like the key player. Like that's red flag city right there. The Flyers game, I mean, they got scored on 11 seconds in. Hot start. And then Toronto, like the Toronto game, actually they played pretty good. Like first period wasn't bad, second period was not great, third period was pretty good. Like they were pressing. There's a couple common denominators here that's leading to these piss poor results. The first and the most obvious one, goaltending. Ilya Samsonov just has not been the guy this year. He was supposed to take that step after he came in playoffs last year. There Vanacek went down, he was looking good. Thought maybe this year he'd step up and be the guy. He just hasn't done that at all. He started like 7 games in a row here with Vitek out, and there was no games that he like stole for them. Like he looked okay in some. There was moments where he looked good, but that's his thing. Like it's all moments. There's no consistent, like he doesn't string together a few good games. He'll play his best game ever and then get pulled the next game, which I'm pretty sure happened earlier this year. I mean, on the positive front, we got TJ Oshie back in the mix, so that's good. But I mean, and that leads actually to the second problem, and that's scoring. Where has the scoring gone? So they lost the Rangers game 4-1, they lost the Philly game 2-1, and they lost the Leafs game 5-3. That's 5 goals for in 3 games. Granted, that's a small sample size, but this has been like an ongoing issue. So just isolating the last 3 games, they've scored 5 goals, but they've allowed 11. That's not good. That's almost 4 goals a game allowed. So, like, obviously that also goes back to the goaltending, that part, but only scoring 5 goals in 3 games, that is so unlike the Capitals. Like, even earlier in the year, in last year, they were like second in goals for in the entire season. They usually average like 3.5 goals a game or something close to that, like something really good offensively. But this year with their power play being what it is, which is just pathetic. At the start of the year, like first 20 games or so, their 5-on-5 play was like one of the best in the league. It's quickly dwindling. You know, Kuzi's slowed down. He's under a point per game now. Ovi is obviously slowed down. He's not in the Hart conversation nearly as much as he was, which like makes sense given his age. But if he could have maintained the way he was playing, hopefully he can pick it back up. Like we need that, because even like Brian McClellan said in his interview or his presser the other day, yesterday, he said the top line was playing at an elite level, and they were. Kuzi, Ovi, and Wilson were all buzzing. Like especially Kuzi and Ovi, they were next level good. Like some of the best hockey you've ever seen them play. Good. That's obviously like the top line slowed down, but just because one line slows down doesn't mean the whole team should stop scoring 5-on-5 or on the power play. And that's what's happened. So I think it's become, in my opinion, like trade deadline looming. I'm not going to talk in depth about these games. They weren't good. There was few bright spots. We lost Carl Hagelin and Joe Snively with injury too. Like nothing is going right now. The priority I would say right now is depth scoring, because as bad as Samsonov has been, it comes down to tightening up defensively and helping him out, because if you know he's not going to make the big saves, like just tighten it up in your end, not letting them get those rebounds or those in tight chances. Just if you can, and again I'm asking like a lot here, but like if you can like cut those down like they were at the beginning of the season, because we weren't really complaining about Sammy earlier in the year, but now when after COVID and people moving in and out of the lineup and everything, it's just like it's hard to maintain that consistent level of play when there's so many moving parts. So, you know, if they can get back to even just like close to what they were at the start of the year. I think Sammy will be okay, and Vitek, like swapping them in and out again, I think like you can get by. But I think the main issue right now for me is scoring. Like, you need to score. This team's known for scoring. If they're not scoring, like, what are they doing? Because this team has always been offensively minded ever since they got Ovechkin. So they've never been the shutdown team. They've had good defensive teams, like when they were winning President's trophies and everything, but they were also a top offensive team while they were doing that. So I know I'm kind of all over the place, but this is how my brain's going right now. But I think right now the big problem for me, aside, even though Samsonov has not been good, and I still think that's a 1B issue, I think 1A, depth scoring. Who else is scoring goals when OV is cold? Like, clearly nobody. Wilson's been decent. Like, he's almost got 20 goals this year, but he's on the top line. Like, you expect that from him now. Connor Sherry's been chipping in where he can. He's almost at like 15 goals. I think he has like 12 or 13. So he's doing his part. Joey Snipes was doing his part for a bit too, but I mean, like, who else? Like, the fourth line, they're good, but they're not scoring much. Especially now that Hagelin's out. Whenever you take one person out of that line, it just kind of messes it all up. And I know Hagelin's an easy guy to make fun of because he doesn't score at all, but I mean, he's been playing good hockey. He plays his role. We all know that. And obviously he's out with that scary eye injury, so we're hoping that Hagelin gets better soon. Eye injuries suck. Anything with eyes freak me out like so much. Like that scene, like A Clockwork Orange, like when I can't even, like when they hold his eyes open, I can't do that. But yeah, going back to that Leafs game specifically, I guess we'll talk about how 1B now is like we need goaltending. And the only problem is I don't see any like improvements out there. Like Fleury was like the guy. Even like how often does a mid-season or trade deadline goalie acquisition lead in something like phenomenal, like a cup? Like very rarely, if ever. But Flower was like the only decent option, and now we're Flower over here because he didn't want to come to Washington. Actually, I don't know. I think he just wants to stay because of his family, so I'm going to retract that. Flower. Yeah, Flower was the only like viable option, and he doesn't want to go anywhere. Like Braden Holtby's out there. Is he really like going to change anything? Like unless he just goes back in time and goes 2018, which is just like would be nuts, and I would buy his jersey 2 seconds after they won the cup. But I don't see that being the case this year, and I just feel like they have to run with these two guys, even though they're not playing up to what we need them to. Vitek was playing good before he went down, but he's in tonight against Carolina, so maybe he can take the reins and run with it, but I think we're stuck with these guys. So I think I hate saying stuck because it sounds like I'm like talking shit about them. They're good. They're just so inconsistent. It's tough. But anyways, that Leafs game was when I realized that Sammy is not my guy. That William Nylander goal where John Tavares, like granted Nylander was alone, but he was at the side of the net and Sammy had no idea where the puck was. Like you're an NHL goal, you got to know where the puck. It's not like JT was pulling the Michigan or banking it off the back of the net. He just went behind the net and Sammy lost track of it. So those goals sucked, and I think unfortunately those are the reasons that the Capitals lost that game. But I just think those are our guys for the year. So now we have to move on from the goaltending discussion and just talk about how to improve the roster in front of it. System-wise, like tightening up the D again, because at the start of the year, like I said, they were a top 5-on-5 team. That's fizzled away somehow. And depth scoring is just so crucial right now. And top line scoring, like Ovi's cooled down, Kuzi's cooled down. Wilson had a nice game against Toronto, but I mean, other than that, like it's just, there's got to be more offense, which is something I didn't think I would be saying this year with the way Ovi was playing. He was on pace for like 120 points and like 70 goals. Weird he didn't sustain that. And obviously Backstrom and Oshie aren't there yet. Like it's clear to see when you're watching them play, they aren't at game speed, and that's going to take a while to come back. So hopefully they're kind of like back and settled around playoff time. And big news out of today is we're getting Anthony Mantha back probably tonight, if not definitely next game. So Mantha is going to be a huge addition. Obviously it'll take him a little bit to get up to game speed too. He only played like 10 games this year, so he's missed like 44 or something like that. So I don't know. It's a really weird spot because like this isn't like a blow up the roster kind of team, because there's good players, and then we've seen how good they can play like earlier in the year. It's just they're going through a really tough spot right now since the start of January. I don't know, that was like right after when COVID and everything ended, so getting back to that, especially with people still going in and out of the lineup, like that's going to fluster you, and not having consistency on a nightly basis is going to result in not having consistency like on the scoreboard and stuff like that. So depth scoring, just scoring in general, it's just, I think offense is where we need the most help right now, because goaltending, like I said, it's just kind of solidified. I don't think we're gonna find improvements out there, or not like major, not enough to give up pieces improvements, you know. Like that Leafs game was tough, man. Like they deserved to win that one, but the goals at the end of the first period, and then like one shift where they just got hemmed in their own zone and they lost the game, and that's the problem. And GMBM said this too, it's the times that they're getting scored on. They're so crucial. Like that Columbus game, they score with like less than a minute left after they tie the game. This one, 1, there's like 3 minutes left. The Leafs hem them in their zone, get the big goal. It's these timely saves that aren't being made. It's starting from behind too. That's been a problem this year, always getting scored on first, like lately. So I don't know. I'm all over the place right now. I'm really confused with this team because they shouldn't be as bad as they are, because we've seen how good they can be when they're playing at the top of their game, but they just haven't been able to find it for like 2 months now. So big one against Carolina tonight. This is like, if they don't win this, I'm expecting some deals to be done, because I know Carolina's good. This is a big test game like the Rangers was, so I'm expecting people out of town if something goes wrong here. And I hate that, because I love this team. I love the players on the team because I know they can win. They just have this real problem with consistency. I don't know. I don't want to be that guy, but ever since I dropped the Kuzi Revenge Tour shirt, he went awfully cold and the team started playing worse. So I could be to blame for that, and I just keep doing things. But Wilson, Mr. Clean here, he's been hot. He just had a 2-goal game. And everyone that I made a shirt for went to the All-Star game. 2 people. I made an OV one last year. He was originally selected, so I'm kind of batting 1,000 with the players. But ever since that Kuzi one, things haven't been quite the same. So I don't want to say I'm to blame, but I'm definitely on the hot seat here. I don't know what else to say. This is we're getting into must-win games now, and that's crazy to think, because earlier in the year the Capitals were the #1 Cup favorites, and now there's talk about missing playoffs. So they gotta figure it out here. They gotta start going out looking at scoring options. I've seen Calle Yarncrook's name come up. I've seen Tyler Mott. Not the most exciting names, obviously, when there's people like Philip Forsberg out there who I would just murder people to see in a Capitals jersey again. But anyways, yeah, that's my current take on the team. I think I might make a video about like the options out there for the trade deadline, because there's just so much going on right now with this team, and Ovi and the Russia stuff, and I don't know, man, I gotta lie down, have a beer or something. Anyways, thanks for watching. I didn't touch on any of the games, but they lost. Things are going wrong. There's greater issues at hand than talking about who scored at what point in the game, you know? So anyways, I hope you enjoyed the rant. It really went everywhere. There were points where I didn't even know where my arguments were going. I think I got some kind of message across, so thanks for watching. We really got to beat Carolina. We also broke some news about Carolina today, so hopefully you saw that. Potential outdoor game. I got nothing left for you. I appreciate the views, appreciate the people. Do I appreciate the team? I don't know. I think I over-appreciate them sometimes when they don't deserve it. So let's just go out and deserve it. Go out and earn my appreciation. I'm expecting big things now after I was so wrong about the Ryan Reeves-Tom Wilson fight that didn't even come close to happening. So anyways, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next one. And let's campaign to get Philip Forsberg or Phil Kessel in DC. Just one of the Phils to DC. I'll be happy. Thanks for watching. Peace out.